We would like to call the Budget Committee to order, and I would like to ask if there are any visitors wishing to address the committee. Seeing none. In old business, we have none. In new business, item 4A, General Fund, Mayor Bill Britton for the presentation and discussion.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend, and we'll get back to putting our budget together. Chairman mentioned about the sales tax update under tab 2. So that we just took the sales tax receipts from May and updated our estimates for the current fiscal year, and they continue to grow. And so we have 2 more months left of sales tax that will factor into this as we receive them. We'll start on tab 8. County Attorney. And there's no increase there. And we pay the attorney as he bills us.
Let's go ahead and vote all of them, or vote one at a time.
That's your preference. Now,
I think we do one at a time, it'd be better if we have, yeah.
Now, one thing, and I failed to mention this last time, is now this document's a fluid document. There'll be changes, just like the couple of votes you had last time. So when we have draft 2, there'll be a time when you want to vote on the whole budget. So.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Okay, tab 9 is Election Commission. Now, you may recall from last time, most of the changes in these budgets are personnel related because of the raises that you gave in January. That was for 6 months, and so that was carried forward to a whole year for next fiscal year. So, but in Election Commission, it's a little more than that. You'll see the changes in the personnel, but it's a year of just one election, and that's a May primary. So that budget request is down $62,000.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
I think James. Second. First one is James. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next is tab 10, and it's Register of Deeds. Adjustments, there were the pay raises in line 106 and line 169. He reduced his part-time hours, and there was an adjustment in medical insurance coverage. So there's an overall reduction of $3,485.
Do we have a
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
Mr. Gordons? And do we have a second?
Bill, is that because he got his new person last year? Does that have something to do with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, didn't Register of Deeds have a request for some new filing, though?
That's in capital.
That'll
We've
be
got that in capital.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next tab is 11, and that's the Planning Commission. You'll see in Planning Commission, there's the adjustments for the pay increases, and also one of the administrative assistant is retiring, and there's a person has been hired to replace her. There's a 2-month overlap for training. That's factored in here. And then Tina is also asking for a part-time employee to help with the clerical duties and of the office that's very busy. You'll see at your desk, there should be a description of the job duties of this position that she's asking for. It's a part-time, about 15 hours a week. What we would do here is, the idea is to share an employee with the Emergency Management Office. The Emergency Management Office has a clerical person who's been on staff for probably 5 years, close to 5 years. She's very good, and she's right now working about 26 hours a week. Is that we would make her full-time and work in both offices. And right now, what the planning office does, just to give you an idea of what they do all the zoning for the county. The building codes go through planning and zoning, property maintenance, building permits, building inspections, stormwater, and codes enforcement. They're all housed in this office. And this clerical person would answer the phones, would help with, greet the public at the counter when the number one person's at lunch or on vacation.
So it's not really hiring a new person, it's just extending the hours of,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
On our legal services down here,
Yes,
is that not with our county attorney?
it is.
It is.
It's just billed to this budget.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next is tab 12, and that's codes compliance or codes enforcement. And the only change there is for the pay raise that was approved in January.
Do we have a motion to approve? Taylor Ward, do we have a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab is 13, that's the GIS department. We have it's a one-person department. It's Ashley Singer, she does the mapping for the assessor's office, the addressing, and the GIS systems as well. We're and also included in a partnership with the city of Morristown, MUS, and 911, and so we all go together and make sure we have current maps on everything. And Ashley will be the one who will be the mapper for the redistricting this year when we get to redistricting this fall. And the only difference is the pay at the top, and then there's a 3% increase in the contract with the partnership. And we put that in. We haven't been notified there'll be an increase, but we just put it in there to be ready. So if we're not billed, we don't pay it.
Do we have a motion to approve? Taylor Ward, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Okay, the next tab is 14. It's the maintenance department. You have at the top, you have the changes in compensation for a full year of the 2%. Then you have the $1,000 increase for communication, and a lot of the department phone bills are paid from this line. And let's see, total increase is $6,200.
Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab is 15, it's archives. We have a part-time employee in archives, a one-person department. And the only change is she received the 2% for the year.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion? Do we have a
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Hey,
Any opposition? Motion carries.
who does that archiving?
Cindy Lane. Okay, the next is the next departments. We want to look at tabs 16 and 17 together. And what we're doing here, this is the finance office, the accounting and budgeting. This is Ann's department. And what we're proposing is that we combine these two budgets. In the purchasing, in tab 17 is the purchasing. That's one employee, and to make it easier to administer and more efficient to administer is just combine the two under accounting and budgeting, and the increases there are, you've got the 38,000 under accountants and bookkeepers, that's the position that's moved, and then plus the pay raises, the 2%. Then you have $3,000 increase for advertising, where we anticipate bidding more this year because of the Justice Center project. And that's it, just combining the two to make it more efficient to administer.
In housekeeping, when you combine two, does that change much of anything?
You want to speak to that?
In this case, it really doesn't. I believe one time back in history with Hamlin County, there were more people in the purchasing area. That was my understanding. Now we've got one person who actually does some work in purchasing, but she's also doing work in other areas too. And then it keeps us from having to split up things like office supplies. I mean, little things like that we go back and forth, and there's really no difference.
Okay.
And as the mayor mentioned, the only addition to this budget is $1,500 for more bidding and advertising. In the purchasing budget, we did $1,500. We had to add several $100s to that this year because of there's just more bids happening now.
And on the other hand, we've already passed it, but the GIS person, Ashley, she's a one-person department. Would that not be more efficient under Gis Department or something?
Well, she's got like 3 different functions. And so she's paid through that one department, but she also works with the assessor and now previously before we went GIS, we had the mapper in the assessor's budget, but this is a little different. To justify the position, we combined 3 different functions.
Understood.
Thank you, Renee.
It's just a curious question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve? Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 18 is property assessor. In that budget, the full-time position that was approved this year is in there for a full year. There's another full-time position that was reduced in hours to 30 hours a week. And but the increase just shows those changes, and also $50 for printing.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ward, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 19, Commissioners, I misspoke in tab 18. Tab 18 doesn't have the other position in it. It's tab 19 that has the position, the new position for Keith's office that's budgeted for the full year. It's tab 19, and that's the increase for you have the full-time position, then you have another full-time position that's down to 30 hours, and that's the difference here. 36,566.
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab is 20, the trustee's office. And this was converting a part-time position to a full-time position that was approved earlier. You'll see in the far right column, Scotty has eliminated his part-time line of $15,000, his overtime, reduced his maintenance agreements, and his bond is paid through the end of this term. So with the pay increases and the conversion of a part-time to full-time, the increase is $5,200.
And I think Scotty said that that's going to last them for a pretty good while, too. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Goins, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 21 is county clerk. You approved that last time, so we'll skip tab 21 unless you have questions. Tab 22 is data processing. That's our IT manager, Jeff Atkins' budget. In something we learned during COVID is that we need to be better prepared to work remotely and to make sure that we have all the tools for the offices that in case they need to work remotely, they can. And so Jeff has put in his budget the increase online data processing services. What that is the annual subscription to convert to Microsoft 365. And what Microsoft 365 does is it takes the email, where we've had some problems with our email server. So it's a time where, now's the time to buy a new email server if we don't do this, which is about $20,000. But with Microsoft 365, Exchange or the email goes to the cloud. So, and that helps with our uptime, make sure we don't have any downtime like we've had recently. Also storage issues we've had with our Exchange server. So it helps with that. So it reduces our downtime. It's simpler to administer. For him, it's more reliable, more secure. The email is. All the apps are available. Apps meaning the Microsoft Office suite of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, all those Microsoft softwares are available in an app form on any device, and it keeps those softwares current as well. Like the version I'm using now, I think is like Word, 10 maybe? I mean, it's old. And so this way we're current. Though, like Ann, who's very efficient and uses Excel all the time, and a lot of offices do. It keeps us in the current version of those softwares. So that's it's for 162 users. And then on 312, contracts with private agencies, that's also email security software for us too. Helps us identify any spam that's going on and those kind of things. So this is a move that we're recommending to get us into a position where we're better equipped to work remotely. A lot of the department heads have gotten the top of the people at the top of their management team with laptops ready to work from home if they need to. We did a lot of that in finance and accounting, working from home during COVID, and this would help us.
We approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab is 23, and it's the satellite office. You approved it last time. 24, is Administration of Justice, Circuit Court Clerk. You approved that last time. 25 is the next tab. That is General Sessions Court, Division 1. And that's Judge Collins's court. There is a state mandated increase in pay for him, and the taxes that go along with it. And then there's some training. Then there's $1,500 for some additional equipment that's needed for video arraignment.
Do we have a
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, got a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next is tab 26. That's General Sessions Court Division 2. That's Judge Snyder. And she reduced office supplies to pay some dues with, and then her state required pay raises.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Tab 27 is Drug Court, Recovery Court. This will be fiscal year 21-22 will be the first full year of the restart of our drug court as a felony drug court. We have one employee in that department, and you'll see the reduction in the budget. The total budget, $76,246. That's cut in half what last year's budget was. Also, there's a state grant of $60,000 that we received to pay for the recovery court.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion, and got a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 28 is Clerk and Master's Office. There was an increase in the number of part-time hours. Amounts to $5,500 in the pay raises from earlier in the year. An adjustment down for medical insurance. $3,000 increase in postage for the mailing service that they hire for their delinquent tax notices. And then there's other reductions that amount to about $2,500. Total increase is $4,800.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 29 is Juvenile Court Services. You have, there's been some turnover as you, I guess, were told during the commission meeting last week when Gina Kimbrough was honored, and Janice Kimbrough is also retired. So those two ladies have retired and been replaced. So there's some reductions in pay in that department, in longevity and insurance as well. There's the pay increases, of course, that you guys approved earlier are factored in there. Bottom line is that it's down $8,700. Now, this does not include, this is the budget where the operating expenses for that case manager that was approved in the last budget meeting will go into this budget and will be reflected in draft 2. And it's not in here. So if you put the $8,300 in there, it's about a break even. So
we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be abstaining from this since this directly affects my wife's salary.
Mr. Doty? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab is tab 30, that's courtroom security. I'll turn it over to Captain Mullins.
I got a question, Howard. Bill, on our, that 101, comparing 2020 and 21 to 2021, 22, what's the increase? We know yet?
As far as expenditures or revenue?
The more we're gonna spend?
It's on the last page. We'll get to it tonight.
Okay.
We'll get to it tonight. In fact, when it's a decrease, but we'll get to it.
The first one is the courtroom security. The only thing on it is the pay increases for the employees and then a $1,500 salary supplement. That's for one of the guys got certified in search and rescue, scuba diving. That's to take care of his equipment, maintaining it, cleaning it. We'll be called out. I'm one of the guys as well for the Sheriff's Department. We'll be called out for drownings, any type of search and rescue for Hamlin County and surrounding counties. And that was a $1,500 salary supplement for Officer Hvac.
Do we have a motion to approve? Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
I think Mr. Neesmith was, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Chairman, now, what you're seeing in your book, okay, the Sheriff's Department and all their related departments requested a 10% pay increase. What's in the budget book and what is 3%? So just for your own.
Didn't know that.
Is that for what we are voting for now? Or was that, what tab are we on to make sure that?
Tab 30,
Yeah.
it's not in this, we put it in a lump sum for all employees at the end.
Okay,
Should we-
Instead of breaking it out for each
Should we
one.
make a motion? I'd like to make a motion if this is the proper time to keep it at 3% across the board.
we have a motion for 3%. And we've got a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Mr. James.
Okay, the next will be the Sheriff's Department for the pay increases for each officer. The only other thing is in $1,000 more for communications, the phone bills, and the $31,500 for the maintenance agreements.
Mayor Britton, with that, with the way that we've just done this, then there's nothing different to add to that, is that correct? That's correct. All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. 32.
32, yes, 32. Captain Mullins, if you don't care, would you call out the tab so that we make sure that everybody's on the same page too?
I don't have the tabs.
Okay, all right. The first was Mr. Doty, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the second was, who gave the second on that? Okay. Jeff Aker.
You want to tell him what you're working on, he can pull
I can go to your tab.
your tab.
Okay.
Or you just tell what you want to work on and I can tell you the tab too. So we do that.
Drug enforcement.
We need to vote on this.
We still need to vote on this one before we move on. We've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
drug control fund.
Yes.
That's tab 56.
56.
50 what?
56.
It's the 1,500 was taken out for the scuba. On the drug enforcement, the only change is the $1,500 going back in. That was a salary supplement for the scuba team that was taken out of theirs at first, but now it's taken out of the courtroom security and the sheriff's department's budget. And the $12,000 was the riot gear. The riot gear.
Right here.
This shows both revenue, because it's a fund, it's got the revenue, because he's not part.
Yeah.
You stay,
Budget will
I
go
don't
back
see.
to what it originally was last year. We did budget amendments during the year and got $12,000 more put in the budget to purchase the riot gear. And all we done is change it, is putting it back to original budget, what it was at the beginning of the year.
So it's not
We're
here.
not asking for anything more than what the original budget was last year.
Moving it from one to the.
One cent.
Changing the line item, yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Who is that?
No changes.
Mr. Goins, do we have a second? Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Sex offender registry.
That is tab 33. Tab 33.
There's no change on it. And there's no change on the sex offender.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries.
Workhouse.
35.
Workhouse is 35. 35. Oh, excuse me, yeah, that's right. I read it upside down.
And no change on that other than the pay increases for the employees.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
How many guards are in that workhouse?
At work?
Just two? And that's around the clock?
Now, we have a Armstrong Shield that runs the shield that's in the workout. As far as the work as that, but as far as does the can wagon and all this, we have 2 hours.
There's no change other
That is dedicated to that.
Tim, this budget is for the litter pickup.
Right.
Okay.
That uses inmates,
Oh, okay.
and it's paid for, the personnel part of it's paid by the litter grant. So we get a state grant.
Okay, great, okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next will be jail.
34.
Yes, that's 34.
It was just, what they're saying, here's what they're saying. Is
Started candy fund.
medical and dental, we took it down by 60,000.
This thing.
And then food, we took it down. Food and drugs, 100,000. Food and drugs gone up 450.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, that's our fault that we didn't get that, but everything else is the same.
How much that insurance cost for a year? $1 million.
Did you present that before?
That's less than 100, right? For food,
Okay, yeah, talk about it with
Yeah.
capital, when we get to
For
capital.
100, yeah.
Okay. Just, after the sheriff's department presented their budgets, in the jail, there was no changes except for the salary lines. And Ann and I went through the budget and reduced, you'll see under 340, medical and dental services, we went through and reduced that by $60,000. And then under food, 422, excuse me, we went and reduced that by $100,000 because of the number of inmates. And if head count comes up or goes up, then we'll have to come back and ask for more funds.
And just as an example, we're paying $4,000 to $5,000 a week for food now. Back when we were at full capacity, it was in the 8,000s. So we didn't take it all the way down, but we're trying to.
Why are we paying so much for overtime?
The jail?
Staff.
Overtime in the jail?
Why did we pay so much for overtime?
Yes, ma'am.
Were we so short on shift this past year? Before we were so short on shift, I've had at least 15 officers out in COVID. And I've been down 8 people at a time before a shift started staff, at least 8. Going to school, they all have to do 40 hours in service of it. And most of it was done online this time, but they can't do it while they're working, so it's been at home on the computer.
Because it's been like a drastic jump, you know, and I just,
And it has been, and that's because of being so short and then,
COVID.
and COVID, yes.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next tab's 31. And it's the Victim Assistance Program, which is your domestic violence services program that we basically administer the finances. Barbara Horton's the executive director, and we have a service provider, and it's all paid for by state and federal grants, the VOCA grant and other grants. And so the budget's down $3770, and that's all grant money. And the grant money's reflected on the revenue side that we went over last week.
We approve.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Mr. Reed?
Mr. Reed. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Next tab's 36, Work Release Program, Don Baird's program. See the personnel lines up the front for the raises and up at the top, and then we had a reduction in communication, increase in maintenance for the vehicles. And then look at line 399, other contracted services, where the budget is, the proposed budget for next year is $125,400, down $1,100. What's paid out of that is you'll see the note at the bottom of your page where we have the jail to work program. Our contribution of $90,000 is paid out of that line. Also, the state electronic monitoring indigency fund, a contribution of $14,000 is paid out of that. That's if the judges order ankle bracelets or other types of devices. It's paid out of that, those for indigent folks. The state matches the money that we put in. Stepping Out Ministry, $6,000, that's the domestic violence for domestic violence offenders, not victims, but offenders. And then the texting service of $5,400, that's a reminder service. The Public Defender's Office, we tried it out for 3 months this year, and the Public Defender's Office asked us for what happens is this company sends defendants text messages to remind them of their court date. With the theory behind that is that they don't miss their court date, therefore warrant isn't issued for them because they missed their court date and failure to appear. So this helps reduce jail time. So those are the items that are in that line. Overall, for this budget, it's up just under $2,000.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any discussion? Could you explain a little bit more about how the Stepping Out Ministries process works? I'm not understanding that.
On the domestic violence fund?
Yeah.
Well, the judge will order in court on a domestic violence case, a finding of guilt. He will require them to do 26 weeks of a certified domestic violence class. And that's where this comes in. That's the certified class. There's a non-certified class and a certified. This is a certified class, 26 weeks long.
Okay. All right.
The programs that we have in place to try to reduce jail time and are in this budget. And that's what Don does.
We've got a motion and a second.
Question there. If a population of the jail goes down, some of these charges could go down too. In other words, it costs you more in a jail or in the work release. If you've got 600 or 360 inmates, you're going to be spending so much money. But if you're down to 205, won't that
Reduce the cost.
that reduce the cost of it?
Not on this. This is to keep them out of jail.
Yeah.
Now, on the jail budget, yes, that's why we reduced the food lines and the medical care lines because of that.
Well, it could come down to this too, couldn't it?
Yeah, the number who would go through.
Don't have as many people
Right. It could.
to watch over.
It could.
It could come down.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 37 is civil defense, or that's emergency management. In the top line, you have, looks at the pay increase of $6,800. That's for the emergency management director. The pay study update that we did last year that was implemented in January included a pay adjustment for 3 people that exceeded 10%. And what we did, not all of them were in this department, but there were 3 employees, 3 positions that their pay were adjusted or called for over a 10% adjustment. What we did is we capped those 3 at 10% back in January. And so the rest of it, I think one was 13, one maybe 14, one 15, something like that. And so this position's one of them that we finished out the recommended increase. So that's why that $6,800 is showing. Then the decrease in the part-time line is that part-time employee who's going full-time with planning in EMA, her hours working for EMA will go down a few hours a week. And then there was a change in medical insurance. That was an increase. So total increase for the department is $10,000.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, did we do away with the EMA two-paid position?
The deputy EMA, no, it's still in there. It's in the part-time line,
Okay, it's still counted in the part-time?
still there. Yes.
Very low paid then for, it's only 15,000 for the two people.
I'm not sure what he's paid. What's Dale paid?
Who,
The deputy EMA director?
that deal,
Oh, yeah.
It
less than
doesn't,
$2,000.
A year? Less than 2,000 a year?
okay.
It's right at very close to 2,000.
It has been lowered.
He must be that homeless guy out there, only $2,000.
Okay, also under tab 37, you'll see the second page is other public safety, Homeland Security grants. On the revenue side, we showed receiving a grant of $20,500, and on the expenditure side, we're showing it as a pass-through.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 38 is the Civil Service Board. There's no change in it.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 39 is the coroner's budget. You'll see a significant increase in contract with private agencies. That's autopsies and transports, and we had a large number of deaths and autopsies this last year, and estimated about 5 autopsies a month is what we're projecting for next year, and that goes toward the increase. Every autopsy, you have to transport the body to Knoxville for that, and there's a charge for that transport, and so that's all factored into that.
Do we know how many of those were COVID-related? Will there be any flexibility there? Will it change?
There'll be fewer.
Fewer?
Because of that reason, there'll be fewer, but, there'll be other
Yes, yeah.
reasons.
Not likely for COVID. Most of them are drug-related, aren't they? Or if you had a murder or something like that, but a lot of drug-related.
Hopefully, we don't need it all.
Right.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Mr. Ward? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 40 is the Health Department. We did that last time. Tab 41 is Rabies and Animal Control. And this is the first year of the full budget. We adopted an 8-month budget last time. And the only difference between this budget and the full year budget that I showed you when we created the department are the pay raises for next year. So you see the increase of $25,000, that's just additional time for paying the shelter. But the dollars match what we did a year for a full year budget when we proposed it, except for the pay increase. There's no increase in what we're paying the Humane Society. It's all the same.
Mayor, what's the extra
personnel.
25,000
Same personnel.
on the contracts with private agencies?
That is, we paid, let's see. We paid one more month. Let's see if I'm. We paid one more month directly to the Humane Society.
This is for next year's budget's what I'm looking at.
Right.
It's a
It's
increase.
the 240,000 is $20,000 a month, and that's no change
To,
to Humane Society.
I thought we were only paying them 150 a year.
But then you have the city too. See, and the city pays us and we pay
Okay,
them.
okay, that, I got that now. So we're doing the whole thing.
We're doing the
just-
whole thing, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Is the city paying anything here?
Yeah, they pay us. They pay half of this budget. We pay half and they pay half.
Thank you, Mayor. That's,
Do we have a motion?
so move.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So,
If not-
so we're actually paying a total of city and county. Am I reading this right? 367,000?
Correct. For animal control and shelter services.
And we pay the shelter how much?
240.
Now, should we not reduce that sum, seeing that, they're not doing
It was, yeah, they were receiving 300
from us?
from city and county.
Okay.
From both.
How much they receiving from us every year?
Well, if we, 100, right now it'd be
150.
120.
Or 100, yeah, 120. What was we paying them before the,
150.
so we reduced it 30? Okay.
No, I mean, taking on animal control cost us more money.
Exactly, and that's why I think we need to reduce the shelter some more, because they're doing the shelter portion of it, sure, but they're not doing the animal control portion of it.
But I guess the animal control service is better, and it benefits, I mean, Captain Mullins may be able, he may counter what I'm going to say, but I think it's helped the sheriff's department.
Yeah, that's good, and we need to pay them. What I'm saying is, I just think we're paying a little much for that shelter services.
Do we keep a track of how many calls that are made from the city and how many are made from the county?
Yes. We'll submit a report.
Which would you say makes most of the calls right now?
I would say the city, but I don't know that for a fact.
I would say so.
I'll get that information.
And yet they're paying the same as we are.
Yes. But I'll verify, Howard.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition?
Weren't many ayes.
Okay, tab 42 is Cherokee Park. We had a change in staff in Cherokee Park. Judy Crockett retired her full-time work, and Jacob Kaufman has been hired. He started in February. He's doing a nice job out there helping Frank. And Judy has started part-time helping with the campground, answering the phones and keeping Frank and Jacob out on the mowers. Let's see, increases, have overtime increases from last year's budget, $1,000 for diesel fuel, electricity, gasoline, has increased, water and sewer, total increase, and then the pay as well. And total increase is $16,425. At the park, we generate, and I think I mentioned this during the review of the revenue, we generate about $173,000 out at the park.
Mayor, you know, I think it's a beautiful park out there. It's really nice and everything until you get to that campground. That campground, I don't know if y'all have been out there lately. You got junk cars out there. You've got trailers or campers that look like they're falling down, falling apart. It's just, if I was coming to Hamilton County, Morristown, Tennessee to camp, put up, there's no way I'd camp there. Not in that nasty place. I think we need to do something about that. I mean, I don't know if we need to put a limit on it. Okay, you can camp there for 5 days. People are homesteading here. They live there in campers.
Just to add to that, I've had several calls, and that's not my district, but,
Same here.
you know, and there is a car, I know it's been out there, but, because we went before the last election, and that car's still there. That's
It's
almost
like-
4
it's like-
years.
It's just nasty out there. It's bad.
Is this the one that looks like they've been homesteading out there?
Huh?
They build their own decks.
They got their own deck. They got sheds. They got anything they want out
Hey,
there.
Bill, of this 173 generated, what all is that generated from? Is that pure campground generation?
No, it's not all campground. The bulk, over $100,000 of it's campground.
Well, is there not a way that we could look at this? I agree with these gentlemen, it shouldn't be a permanent residence. Is there not a way, we want to keep the campground open year-round, and I get what Frank said, I think last year, that year-round camping generates more funds. There's something coming in when everything's slow. However, all the complaints we've been getting, could we not limit, 6 months a year? It's a bad
We can, I
deal.
mean, we can change policies. We can bring policies to you guys to adopt.
I just think it's, I'm getting complaints, Tim.
And we built it. I don't know if y'all seen the bathroom facilities out there. We built a really nice facility for the folks, you know, to have such a nasty campground right there.
And I've gotten complaints about dumping in the lake,
Yeah.
the sewage in the lake from the campers.
Because they don't want to pull their totes
They
up to
don't
the
wanna
dump station. They
unhook
take
and
do
go
it right
up
there
the-
to the lake.
yeah.
Right.
We've created a nuisance, or allowed a nuisance to begin, that people are taking advantage of by living year-round. You know,
So do you want,
I think we need to look at our policy for
Okay.
year-round camping.
Well, even that's not so bad if they'd keep their,
Well, yeah.
you know?
I
Well,
agree, but.
And another issue is if they're all there year-round, if people want to come to town and camp out there, it's like they can't because it's full
Exactly.
year-round.
That's another point that should be made, that, okay, what if we decide to leave so many percentage of the campsites open or used for year-round, but leave some open for actual tourists that are
How
coming
many
through?
sites are out there?
They may not want to go out there once they drive through.
There's some down in the woods, I don't think they'd get their camper out.
yeah, no, there's
they
primitive,
fall apart.
what are called primitive campground,
yeah.
campsites, and then there's the ones that have.
I think we've got a
Power.
gym, though. We have a gym right there, utilized properly, it doesn't rival Panther Creek Park, but it could be a lot more than what it is.
One of the possible uses of the federal rescue money is tourism development. And what I have done is it's been about a year ago, I got a quote for a study of the campground and do a master plan to upgrade the campground. And it was more than what I wanted to pay. And so, but that was before this federal money became available. So we'll look at that. If you guys are willing to take more time
Yep.
and do a master plan for the park and then make some improvements to the park.
We just can't shut the campground down. Everybody's
You
gotta
gotta look
get
at
out.
what the revenue's gonna be, how much revenue you
Excuse
gonna
me,
look,
I'm-
that's the main thing, that's
Wayne.
free money.
Wayne, excuse me, I was talking.
I didn't hear you.
No, I'm sorry.
That's needed. We need to do this. We need to just take care of it.
Commissioner Hahn?
If we just shut the campground down for renovations, then they gotta get out. And then before they can come back, it'll be under new guidelines. We clean that mess up. If you wanna come back, you gotta follow the rules.
If you see some of those trailers out there, I believe if they try to pull them out of there, they'd fall apart.
Oh, I'm sure they would. I agree with you, yeah. But I mean, that'll be their problem.
Right, exactly.
All you
Well, it'll
need
be our problem because they'll just take off and leave them, but at least we'll get it cleaned up and, you know.
I agree
and
with you, yes.
You know.
Mayor Britton, if
A
there-
possible future income for the park is this hotel motel tax. It probably won't bring in a lot, but it has to be spent for tourism. So we could earmark it for Cherokee Park.
Absolutely.
Easily.
And if ran right, we can make a lot of money out there at that park in the
It'd
campsite.
be something nice.
Right.
Again, we have a gym amongst us. We have a gym in our county that we could spruce up and use as a tourist attraction.
Exactly.
And right now, it is not, Bill.
Mayor Britton, has there been any discussion about just upping the cost of those pads? And if so, if we raise them, would that not offset some people would move that didn't have?
We have not really approached changing any of the policies. Frank and I really haven't had that serious
Do we
discussion.
have, what is the campsite out there per night right now? Do you know?
No.
Don't know.
Relatively cheap in comparison,
I'd say so.
you know.
I would like to look at that myself, just to see if raising that is going to eliminate that problem. Because that way you would,
I think every county commissioner needs to just take a trip out there. If you haven't already, just look around, just, you know.
Nasty.
I tell you what, if you're going to Panther Park campground, it's really nice.
It is.
And it's well functioned. And there's no junky stuff around that place.
That's a state park, which I think we could do just as good.
Okay, why can't we do the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why we can't do it.
We can haul that car out of there,
don't do it.
have it hauled out of there, or
Well,
make them
You
haul
gotta
that
pay,
car.
you gotta pay every night. And I bet you those people don't pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can't leave them there.
If
don't-
you go
have
to,
to pay if you're camping somewhere. I have to pay, and it generally costs me from $50 to $75 a night if it's a KOC place where you're staying.
if you go to any other campsite, you can rent a campsite up to, I think it's a week, 10 days or something like that, I can't remember exactly. And that's it, and then you gotta leave. Then you can come back, but you gotta leave,
That's right.
you know.
Well, I know when I was
How come we don't do it here?
I don't know, when I was in college, I had an evening job at Panther Park. I had a little golf cart and we had, the check-in station there, that's where all the garbage cans were. And people would check in and then you'd go around later to deliver a garbage can for them. And that was so you could, unobtrusively check up on them and, and give them, we always gave them a list of the rules and collected money and all of that. And then you'd go back, if they were gonna stay more than one day, you go back, pick their garbage up, and then we take it and dump it. So you always had somebody there that it was at every campsite.
Checking it.
And it didn't take long, even if we had to pay somebody, a college student, and let them just patrol that area. Wouldn't be much,
Mayor, you said they generated over $100,000 though.
It's
from the
76.
Yeah, total, that's camping and all the others.
Oh, okay.
About 140 of it was camping.
140, okay. So that's something to shoot for and see what we can do, but that doesn't affect our budget for this year. That's something moving forward to study.
What we can do is make that a project for the coming year, is evaluate Cherokee Park and address the policies.
Mayor, according to the county's website, it's $20 per night for the improved sites that have electricity, and according to Mr. Parker, there's 60 of those sites at the park.
Okay.
$20 a night.
That is for nightly. I know they have a price break for
That's super,
weekly.
That's super cheap.
Yeah.
Trust me, I camp a lot, that's super cheap.
That's
It's a-
ridiculous.
And it's $100 a week if they do it bi-weekly. You just sent me the answer on that one.
Roughly $400 a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, we'll address that this year.
we have a motion to approve then, or should we do that, or?
For budget-wise,
No.
yeah.
Motion to approve? Got a motion? to
Motion.
approve? Mr. Neesmith?
Second.
Got a second, Mr. Hahn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Okay, next tab is 43. Other social and cultural recreational, line 309, contracts with government agencies. That's the tire grant. And that's just flow-through money that's paid to the landfill. And then line 316, contributions. If you'll turn to tab 54, these are some of the items that make up that line. We looked at some of these last week. You have, number one, you have the volunteer fire departments, funding at $55,000 each for the year. Mr. Chairman, you can tell me if you want to take these one at a time or as a group.
I think we could do this as a group.
This part probably good, yeah.
Okay, number two is,
Tell you what, we discussed that last time though, on that $55,000. I think Wayne brought it up or something like that, but I think we ought to know where that money's going to and what it's using it for.
Absolutely.
if you look under latest audit or financial report on that sheet, we have reports from everybody but North, and they're in my office. If you want to see them, we can email them
Are
to
you
you.
talking about showing where all their equipment is, inventory of all their equipment? No, somebody brought up in here that they were
This
finding
is-
equipment being
That
owned.
was me.
Yeah.
I still got 3 of those axes. But yeah.
Do what?
I still got 3 of those axes, but yeah.
Yeah. But we need to, I mean. we
Yeah,
don't-
these are financial reports, not the
And,
assets.
and a detailed inventory of what they've got on hand. And if they're gonna take $55,000, when they wanna surplus something, then I think they need to let us know they're surplusing items. Is that unreasonable?
No, I think it's real reasonable.
Because there are other departments, if they wanna surplus something, they put it up on the
But that is
surplus.
that's a department, that is
Well,
not
I
a.
understand that, but we're giving them.
I understand that, sir, but if you look at the cost of it, if you go look at it, at where that money goes, the insurances, the fuel that they spend, that $55,000 is not touching anything on vehicles and equipment. It's everyday operational expenses. When you take a fire truck out there, if it's to a wreck on the interstate, it's getting 5-6 miles a gallon. It has to stay running the whole time. The
I
pump
understand that,
cars,
I'm just saying there needs to be some accountability.
The fundraisers they do is where the equipment comes from.
Yeah, and I get that, but we're giving, we're giving out a large sum of money here, and there's no accountability on their end. They just take our money and, and I understand, but.
Let's do this.
I think Mayor
Next-
Britton said that he has the financial reports from everybody but North Hamlin, I think you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, next budget time, between budget hearings, we'll email you out the reports that we have for
But what
them.
we give these folks is nothing compared to what we give some of these other
I understand.
agencies here, so
Right.
I think they do a good job with what they get.
And I'm not questioning that, I'm just going by what Commissioner Goin had said, some of these items turning up.
And they're great people out there. A lot of them are great people. You get a few of them though that just, well, I need gas for my car, so let's cipher it out of this fire truck. I need money, so let's sell this part right here. I'm taking
But
it home.
somebody's in charge,
Someone's in charge.
and if it's the mayor
It's the
of
hand receipt
Hamlin County,
operation.
he's
what
in
needs to happen.
charge, and he's responsible, and he takes the hit, and the fire chief should be the one that's accountable for that.
Exactly.
I really believe that we need to have a better.
And you would not believe if you hand receipt something from the county, that's gonna scare you to, you're gonna take care of that
Yeah.
forever, because you're gonna have to
Exactly.
pay for it. If you lose
Your
it.
name's on it.
Yep. I mean, if you lose it, or if it gets destroyed or something like that, it's like just write it up and say, hey, it was destroyed. You showed that it's destroyed, replace it.
Now, I mean, the county does not own the equipment.
No,
I
it
mean,
don't.
We're making a contribution.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that when, they don't have to give us a dime if they surplus something or sell it off. But I just think as a common courtesy, since we're funding them $55,000 a year, that the common courtesy that they could
Let us
say,
know.
we're surplusing this truck. Okay, and it's valued at $2,000. We're not gonna take $2,000 out of their $55,000. And it may help them in the long run be more accountable within their
But not
own.
only do we surplus, give them 55,000, who buys those trucks?
True. That's a lot more than that, too. That's the grants they get.
Grants.
Yep.
And I'm all for these
$300,000
guys,
a year.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill, this is these are volunteer fire departments. Compare what the city pays their fire departments. And if we didn't have these volunteer fire departments, you wouldn't get your insurance would be a lot higher than what it is.
We're not saying
now.
get rid of them.
And there's not a fire department out there that's not out busting their buns, either with roadblocks. I know South Morristown, Williams got the big rodeo, they make about $40,000 a year. So this 55 it's not covering near of what it costs to operate one of them volunteer fire departments.
But my suggestion, I think, would help them in the long run.
Yep.
You know, because it doesn't matter what we give them $50,000. If 5,000 of it's going out the back door, they're losing $5,000. And if they have that receipt, then whoever checks out the jaws of life or whatever, you know, then they're responsible for that. And if it doesn't come back, then we know who checked it out, we know who had it. I just think it's good business, and I think ultimately it's going to benefit these departments.
It will.
Bill, is this information not on some of the reports that we've not seen?
We can't hear you.
I don't know.
I said, is the information y'all are talking about not on their reports?
It's mostly profit and loss reports, and rather than, I don't know if they've submitted balance sheets or not, no, just profit and loss.
It's all cash basis.
Okay.
Mayor Britton, would it make sense for us to go ahead and vote the budget for this year and then form a committee to look at that and
Or we can
how,
have-
or change policy or whatever?
We can
Mayor
have
Britton,
them come speak. about
Mayor
how
Britton,
they
are we
handle
not being lax if we do that to the volunteer fire departments, and we don't do it to E911, we don't do it to the Humane Society, we don't do it to ALPS, we don't do it to the health department, we don't do it to the library, who gets more than the volunteer fire departments?
Well, now, the way the requirement we have is that we receive financials, whether it be an audit, if their books are audited.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna do it for them, we need to do it for
everybody.
everything on these pages.
I can go with that.
And when you start trying to get a list of every asset the library has, you don't know how many books that we have purchased for my grandson there at $1, because he loves books, which is the exact same thing as fire department surplus is something that they don't utilize.
I understand that.
So if we're going to, we need to do it with all, not just one.
I can get behind that 100%. It's a good idea.
Well, we need to look at that, though.
Gotta
I make
get
a
a
motion,
grip
we
on
pass
this.
this.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Did we just pass everything on tab 54?
No. No, we hadn't gone over all of it yet.
We added
That was
removed
the
to all
volunteer fire.
that was approved
On num-
earlier, so.
Yeah, that was just the volunteer fire department.
All right.
Number 2 is 911 contribution. It's increasing from 185,089 to 192,1 by $6,912, according to a formula that we follow every year based on population and based on call volume. Last year, because of call volume, our contribution went down $4,400. This year, because of the call volume, it's going up $6,900. So it goes from year to year based on call volume, mostly. Let's see, 3rd is the health department you've done. 4th is you've done the animal control. ALPS is number 5. It's the same at $5,000. Helen Ross McNabb, number 6. These are for the assessments that they do. for our agencies, and that's increased $500.
Have they met their limit? Have they ever met their limit that we?
Yeah, we said, if they do more assessments than what
We
the
don't,
50
yeah.
we don't pay them.
Oh,
I mean, they know what they know what the top is.
okay.
It's a not to exceed amount,
So, but they have met that limit though?
yes.
Before, yeah.
In prior
Okay.
years. Number 9 is the Youth Emergency Shelter operated by Helen Ross McNabb. We pay that by night, by a number of nights. And then the Marcian Hamlin Child Care Center, those are the same. Senior Citizens, number 10 is the same. Vital Visits, number 11 is the same. Number 12 is the library. That is increasing by $8,450 to get us even with the city, so that we're funding it the same. Then the next, number 13, you have Matt's, Helping Hands Clinic, Lakeway Achievement, Senior Center, Senior Citizens Home Assistance, Central Services, Marshtown Parks and Rec, and Rose Center, they're all the same. Forest Service is the same at $1,000. Number 15, tourism, it's $22,500, and it's the same. And then there's also, not listed here, but you'll see it on another page, there's the 4th of July celebration. It's $32,000. That's paid mostly by contributions, and then $200 we pay for the Civil War Trail. Be a member of that with our board out front, and then $2,000 as prize money for the Disc Golf Championship, which is this weekend. There's 588 golfers that are registered to come to Morristown this weekend for the 3-day event.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you know what the revenue is on what we bring in usually?
It's over $100,000.
Good.
About 150.
Mayor, they playing that at Cherokee Park,
That's one of the 4 courses.
so that can be added to the revenue as well for there.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to see their fight.
And overnight stays for that matter, right?
Right. Number 16 is contributions for industrial development to the Joint Economic Community Development Board, $91,000. Then number 17 is Imagination Library, $5,000, and project graduation of $1,000. So those are all items that are included on that line.
I move that we approve it.
We got a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by John. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 44. Tab 44 is Ag Extension Office. And we pay for some office supplies, some travel, mostly it's salaries.
Don't the state pay for some of that?
The UT pays for the bulk of it. We pay a percentage based on population. And it's up $1,380.
I make a motion, we pass that.
Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 45 is soil conservation. We supply secretary for the soil conservation office, and it's up $745, which is the raise.
Do we have a motion to approve? Got a motion? Do we have a
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
46 is the stormwater budget. There's an increase of $4,500 there for a pending project in Deerwood Shadows subdivision that we've got to do.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, we got a second, Mr. Ward?
Did you
Any
say at
discussion?
Deerwood Shadows? Is that place where water stood?
No, this is east, this is in Russellville.
Another one. Whatever happened to that one down there? Off of Kittles Ridge Road.
Oh, that one was repaired, I believe, and taken care of, wasn't it?
Oh, on,
Kittles Ridge Road, I forget the name of that subdivision there, but
Had to have a pump down
on
there.
the left, yeah. We didn't do anything, I don't think. I don't remember us doing anything.
I think someone went in there, when I was down there before, someone was there fixing something, I assumed it was gonna be a fix.
Okay. Now, we did something about 8 years ago, 10
Yeah.
years ago as a result of a lawsuit,
Yeah, I remember that.
but this is out in Russellville.
Ain't that that new
Stormwater.
subdivision out there?
Do we have a motion? Do we
Ain't
have
that
a
the new
motion?
subdivision?
So moved.
You got a motion, Chris Cutshall, a second?
Second.
I think it is. Deerwood Shadows.
Any discussion?
Out at school.
If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
If you turn to tab 48, you've dealt with the contribution to the Economic Development Board, line 316. Line 364 is the TIF expenditure. It's a flow-through. It's on the revenue side, and this is just the expenditure side for the tax increment financing.
Make a motion, we approve it.
You got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 49 is Veteran Service.
Move that we approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 50 is employee benefits. This is a variety of different items ranging from unemployment compensation that we pay. See, the liability insurance is just what it says. We're looking at cyber security coverage. We're looking at that now. We don't have our quote yet. We'll bring that back to you as far as for the total package of liability insurance. Workers' comp, looking at that too. So we'll modify those in draft two once we get our quote from our carrier. Liability claims, those are the deductibles that we have to pay from lawsuits. We have, right now, I think we have a $25,000 deductible with our current carrier, which goes to legal fees. And then some cases that we have pending, we have a $50,000 deductible from previous carriers. So that's where we pay those deductibles from, it's that line. So overall, the increase is $22,000, and that would be for the cyber security.
I'll make that motion, we approve it.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 51 deals with the CARES Act money that we received this year. There's no activity in this budget this year. CARES Act is gone. We received our funding from the CARES Act, so there's no action needs to be taken there. Tab 52 is line 310, contract with other public agencies. That's the fees that we pay, membership fees we pay to ETHRA and to the East Tennessee Development District for being members of those agencies. And then the, let's see, the $10,000 for other contracted services is what we pay LAMPTO, which is the Lakeway Area Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization. And those are transportation planners, and we pay, we split the cost of some corridor studies with the city of Morristown and White Pine and Jefferson County based on population. And so that's being reduced by $20,000.
I'll make a motion on that.
You got a motion? Do we have a second? Mr. Huntsman? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Tab 53, Trish, do you have that slide? All right, this is our capital projects line for the general fund. And under the first page, you have under general administration projects, you have under line 701, you have the filing system for the Register of Deeds office at 16.5. You have the flooring for Chancery Court under 707. You have a new telephone system, which we budgeted for this year, but did not get done, and so we're rebudgeting for it next year. The money, at the end of this year, the money will go into fund balance. And then we'll just, when we're ready to start moving on that project, we'll have a budget amendment. So, well, we know we won't need a budget amendment because we're doing it now. That's right. And then the HVAC units are in line 712, and a pickup truck for maintenance is in line 718. 2 pages over, under public safety projects, under line 718, you have the 2 pickup trucks for the sheriff's department at $67,500. And of these items, there's $138,500 in capital projects, then the phone system. So 138.5 and 125 is rebudgeted for the phone. And what my proposal is to pay for those capital projects with the local government grant from the state of Tennessee. We're receiving $547,144 from the state. Last year, we received about $1.2 million, and this year we're receiving $547,144. And my proposal is to pay for these general fund capital expenditures with that grant money. It's unrestricted money. We can do with it what you want to. Also on this list are the garbage trucks, and then some funds that would offset the cost of the mower tractor and the highway fund. Now, one thing Chairman Shipley mentioned to me the other day, which I thought was a good idea, is I was in a presentation on the American Recovery Act, and they did say that cost for expanding landfills because of the increased garbage and bulk waste due to COVID and home improvement projects and that kind of thing could be applied for to be reimbursed by the American Rescue. And we could also apply for funds to help pay for these garbage trucks as well. And so we can try that and use this money for something else. So the comptroller's coming here on the 16th at 2 o'clock at Walter State, and they'll have a proposal to present on the comptroller's office administering those funds. So they'll also help clarify whether certain projects can be funded or not. So we'll talk to them about that. But that's an idea to pay for the garbage trucks from the federal money. So But for now, for today and for this budget is paying for the general fund capital expenses with the state.
Can you
grant.
tell, what's the sheriff department gonna do with 2 more pickup trucks?
You want to answer that?
2 of them's got over 100,000 miles before we get quite a bit of road. The other one, that's for supervisors. Only the supervisors, lieutenants on patrol drive those trucks.
I mean, because trucks are expensive to just be driving around, you know, they couldn't get a car, use a car. I mean, I don't know what they use with the truck for, but.
Well, we use these trucks also for winter time. If we get snow, the whole patrol division will drive every other lieutenant's truck that's off duty.
They may need it to haul moonshine if they confiscate a seal.
That might be it. Hopefully they'll come get mine. Because it's $67,000, that's a lot of money just for 2 trucks. Or
They're
a
not a
car
whole
would
lot
suffice.
cheaper than, or more expensive than the cars now. We checked those as well.
Pardon me?
The cars, the Dodge Chargers.
Yeah, but they're not that. You can get cheaper cars, so I'm saying, less expensive cars. But if that's what you need, I want. I just think, you know, if you're going out on a patrol and you have to have a truck, that's not gonna work. I mean, you can't get no criminal and put him inside the truck there with you and throw him in the back and haul him down the road.
Back seats and cages, they transport as well.
So you're getting 4-door trucks.
Yes.
Are these trucks that you want to replace, can you still drive them?
We just have to put a motor in one of them.
Could we use one of them trucks for their maintenance department instead of spending 25,000 for one? Just asking. Commissioners. You're gonna get rid of 2 trucks, maybe you can use one for a maintenance. I mean, they can make it to Lowe's and back. Home
If we
Depot and back.
surplus, what does that, what will we get back for it? Not much. So why
No,
not keep both of them?
And if it's a decent truck, maintenance
Yeah.
could use it.
Yeah, why not get both of them if?
Well, exactly, he said he just put a motor in one of them, so
Yeah.
it must be a very decent truck.
They're keeping that one
buy
though,
that one.
Tim.
Huh?
They're keeping the one with the
Mr.
new
Chairman,
motor.
I
They're
move
keeping
that
it.
we
What's wrong with the other one? Can't it go to maintenance?
approve these expenditures, accepting the mayor's plan to pay them, subject to revisions later on.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. A motion to take the budget as planned and let the mayor make discretion on those transactions with the trucks.
Okay.
If we bring those into the replacement of that 25,000 for the pickup truck on the maintenance department. Is that a correct understanding?
That's what I was gonna ask you, if we just need to look. if we
And the
can use-
garbage trucks.
And the garbage trucks. Yeah,
I'll second his motion.
okay. We have a,
I already got a second,
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mr. Doe.
all right, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Last item under tab 53 is the next to last page. Starts with other general government projects. When the project of State Route 66, the connector road from exit 4 to Highway 160, at that intersection of 160 and State Route 66, there's the lighting and the signalization and all that right in there. Part of that's in the city and part of that's in the county. And it's been probably 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, we agreed to upgrade the lighting from sodium lights to LED lights. And so we had to pay for that upgrade. And so we've been paying those bills as they've been presented. There's a balance of $2,447, and we don't know whether we'll be billed for that or not. And so we're just budgeting that so that we'll have it in case we get billed by the
We,
state.
we put those LED lights out there. Did the city help pay for those lights?
Those were actually put in by the state, I do believe, at that intersection, and now we have to maintain.
We maintain the yeah.
Does the city contribute anything on that? I see that half of them's in the city.
They pay for the power and the maintenance of the ones in the city. The signals, the red lights,
Yeah.
all right, are in the county.
Okay,
And we
but,
contract with the city to maintain.
but putting them up and everything, we pay for the whole thing, all of it?
No, the state paid to install them,
Okay.
okay, as part of that
So
project.
we're just paying for the maintenance portion of it, to maintain them?
Yes, the ones that are outside the city.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known, saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Okay, on the last page of that section, you'll see the proposed 3% COLA includes taxes and retirement. That's full-time employees only, and for $248,954. So that's, instead of dividing it out into all the departments, we just lumped it in here. So in the official budget, we'll break it out into all the departments. But
Mayor, what are we gonna do about the part-time?
well, right now, they're not included in this.
Can we?
We can we just need direction to do it.
Why would we put part-time, someone works 15 hours?
When's the last time they had a increase in part-time pay?
They received $250 in
Non-recurring.
January. They were part of that, all the part-time folks.
Is that recurring or just?
No, just one time.
How many part-time
Yes.
employees?
You know how many part-time hands we have?
Ballpark.
Ballpark, I'm gonna say the third, more than that. I wasn't thinking of, the folks in courtroom security. I bet we had probably 40, maybe more. That's an department with, I think, maybe more of part-time than others.
You know, with our fund balance, growing the way it is, we could do a one-time payment again for the part-time folks.
Why don't we hold off on approving this section and let Ann come back with exactly what it would cost us to offer that to part-time as well as full-time?
Okay. All right. 3% to part-time as
Yeah.
well as full-time. Okay, we can do that.
And just so you know, to start off with, when we did the one-time payment, it was almost $10,000 for the payroll taxes, of course, no retirement, and to give the 200 net, 250 to part-time employees. So we spent about.
Let's see. One other thing, Wayne, you asked the question about totals as far as expenditures go.
Yes,
If you'll look on that page,
53.
yeah, the last page of section 53, yes. Last year's, or this year, the year we're in, the original budget was $22,478,008. And this year's is $22,248,032, which is about $229,000 less on the expenditure side.
Okay.
And our revenue's less too, and all that can be related to the local government grant.
The revenue's less.
Mr. Chairman, that's the general fund.
Anything else to vote on that? Because we're holding until we hear back on the
And then we'll put draft 2 together.
Okay. Upcoming budget meetings on June 3rd, June 8th, and June 10th. That's all we have. We're adjourned.